Hey y'all, Brett Mix, aka Let's Talk Wrestling 101, aka LTW 101, here with you back for Royal Rumble review. This is Royal Rumble 1990. One of the funnest events I had growing up was this event. I probably wore out the VHS tape from Coliseum Video. I don't even know how many times. I've watched this event and WrestleMania 10, which was came before that. WrestleMania 10 came a couple months after, I should say, and I watched both tapes religiously. This was such a fun event. It had controversial finishes, it had heel turns, it had heroic comebacks, it had storyline progression that went further than WrestleMania when you're dealing with The Undertaker. It had just a number of great moments, and they treated the show like it mattered. This was the seventh annual Royal Rumble. The Brooklyn Brawler beat Jim Powers in a dark match before the show began. The first match of the pay-per-view used to be Ludwig Borga versus Tatanka, but then they found a replacement. The Gorilla Monsoon and Jim Ross did commentary for one match, and that was the IC title match between Razor Ramon and IRS. Razor Ramon would actually go on to compete in the IC title match three times after this at the Royal Rumble event, and not once was he ever a part of the in-ring Royal Rumble. I just thought that was interesting. Despite being in the company, even in 2000, he was in the company in the Rumble match. Last year, he was in a match with Bret Hart for the championship. Let's get this thing going from Providence, Rhode Island. Tatanka faced Bam Bam. He was the replacement. Bam Bam is, as I said last review, one of the best agile big men of all time. Him and Tatanka had a very fun opener here. It went back and forth. The finish came at 8:12 when Tatanka beat Bam Bam when he pinned him from a crossbody from the top. 2.5 stars I gave it, and that's how I'll stick to it. Stick to that rating for sure. Up next was the Quebecers versus Bret Hart and the Rocket Owen Hart. This match here was extremely good. Well, the Quebecers were good workers in themselves, but they're going up against Bret Hart and Owen Hart. That's just that's just great wrestling right there. Owen and Bret and the story they told during this match led to their classic at WrestleMania X, one of the greatest matches of all time. We didn't even need the heel turn, Owen turning on Bret, all that for this match to be a great match. I rated this match 4 stars. Maybe I'm going a little bit overboard, but maybe I'm not. The crowd was so hot for this match, and Bret and Owen just, when they're on their game, they're on their game. And this is prime Bret and Owen. This is 1994 Bret and Owen. So this match you got to give credit to Jacques Rougeau and the Quebecers. They did a good job as well, Pierre and Jacques. But Bret and Owen, their work was legendary. And Owen claimed Bret didn't tag him in. He said he was too selfish and wanted to be a hotshot and do it all himself. That was the story. Bret had his leg worked on all match, and then Owen kicked his leg out of his leg, or so Owen tells us. And you can't beat DiBiase's commentary too while Owen does this to Bret, his ha 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 evil laugh, while McMahon's going, "What is going on here?" Then like trying to play the clean cut babyface on commentary. Anyway, this match is just great. The Quebecers ended up winning. Obviously, I'm surprised this is not on a DVD. I don't believe it's on any DVD other than the Rumble Anthology. Yeah, I would have thought maybe Owen Hart's DVD or one of Bret's DVDs, but I really can't find it anywhere other than the Royal Rumble Anthology. At that, please tell me in the comments. And While I say that, maybe hit the like button and subscribe if you like my reviews, or if you want me to review other shows, or if you want me to change things about my reviews. I'll get better as I go. I don't have the best equipment. I don't know. I'm not maybe as articulate as I should be. I stumble upon my words. I'll get better as it goes. But just if you hit like or subscribe, you'll help me get off the floor, and then you'll help me improve, and maybe even leave comments about that I'm good with or things I'm bad with. Give me feedback. I'm open to as much criticism, constructive criticism, feedback as possible. But not to cut away from the review, because if you're watching this, you're either a great big fan that either just watched the Rumble and want to watch somebody else's opinion, or you're about to watch this and you're watching somebody else's opinion. I find there's no in between there. It's either black or white. You're either going to watch the event or you just watch the event when you're watching a review. So let's go back to the shows so it don't annoy you any further. Razor Ramon and IRS are up next, and they had a good match. This is a good IC title match between Mike Rotunda and Scott Hall. They had good chemistry together. Razor Ramon made every move count, and that's why I really liked Hall. He had a way with the camera. He worked at his slower pace, but he made his big move mean something, and you could tell with his body language, his mannerisms. Other wrestlers who are like this, Jake the Snake Roberts, Mr. Perfect, so on. Randy Savage. In the end, Bret Hart. Bret Hart. I'm thinking of Bret Hart. I just said Bret Hart. In the end, well, what ended up happening is Shawn Michaels came and hit because he thought he was the IC champion, and came and hit Razor with the belt. And IRS was going to cover Razor. He did cover him, and IRS became the new IC champion. All of a sudden, as the late Joey Marella counted the three very slowly, but then another ref came from the back and told him what happened, and then they restarted it. So my only question is, why doesn't that happen every time then? Whatever. Either way, it restarted, and Razor Ramon ended up getting the victory with the Razor at 11:30. Controversial, and not the only one of the night. There's at least a couple more. 2.5 stars. I rated that. We got the Yokozuna Undertaker match. Now this is a classic casket match. Maybe not for the right reasons of a one-on-one, but it was classic. And this would be Mark Calloway's last match in the Federation until SummerSlam that year. Taker and Yokozuna would meet in a match here at the, and basically all the mid-card heels came out and joined Yokozuna and to help beat the Undertaker, as the Undertaker was fighting through everything. Him and Yoko actually did a good amount of work before all the heels came out, but that's what we remember mostly. So at 14:20, Yokozuna gets the win by putting the Undertaker inside the casket. And all of a sudden, when they're rolling the casket to the back, the thunder rolls, darkness comes about, a visual rises to the rafters. It looks like there's the Undertaker going up in a harness or a dummy or somewhat, and you can hear the Undertaker's voice say in a creepy way, "Be not proud of the spirit of the Undertaker. Lives within the souls of all mankind. The eternal flame of life that cannot be distinguished from the origins of what cannot be explained." Sounds like a warrior promo. Then he goes on to talk about how soon all mankind will witness the rebirth of the Undertaker, and he will not rest in peace. Don't bash me on my attempt there. That was just something I plan never to do again. And I wrote in my review, I'll sleep better knowing that. I rated this match 2.5 stars. Moment wise, it's probably about a 3.5 star, but work rate wise, it's probably in the 1 star. So I kind of met somewhere in the middle. 2.5 stars for that. Now the main event, the 1994 Royal Rumble match. Same rules as always. This is also the winner. The winner will go to WrestleMania. Yokozuna was the first person to do that the year before. And in this Rumble, it's every 90 seconds. It was usually every 120 seconds, but they cut down 30, so the people are going to be running in a lot quicker than usual. Not as quick as the next year, where they go all the way to 60 seconds in Royal Rumble 95. We'll get into that later, but definitely, definitely faster than the usual. Head Shrinker Samu and Rick Steiner start off the Royal Rumble. Wouldn't take It wouldn't take long until Scott Steiner got in the ring. Savio Vega, known as Quang, also joined the fray, and both men got at it. Hart Gun, Owen Hart came out, and then all of a sudden, Big Daddy Cool Diesel strutted to the ring, and this is where those guys I just mentioned to the left. To the right, Diesel made a name for himself in this Royal Rumble, and they really, really were into making Diesel look like the next big thing here, and it worked. It really worked, and that's something. Well, you don't have that in wrestling today. If they tried that today with somebody, the fans would either shit on it or the fans would say something about it. If it's not in the fans' eyes. But whereas back then, if something happened, if someone was dominant, no, you just sorry, he's dominant. That's how it's going. You're gonna like it no matter what. That's it's a lost art these days, but that's what happens when the fans can run the business with social media and all that. They've adapted to it. But yeah, Diesel, not the greatest in-ring worker, not the greatest on the mic, but he became better at the mic as time went on. So Diesel just eliminate guy after guy, and he was in all alone. And McMahon used his unbelievable line on commentary. Virgil came out. It was more of the same. Diesel knocked him out. Next was Macho Randy Savage with a huge response, his last Royal Rumble ever. Macho had a ton of credibility, and everybody's response back that thing. Savage now went to take on Diesel, and now we got like a good. There's a main event player next to Diesel. It's not just Diesel dominating everybody. We got a main event player in the Macho Man. So those two went at it, and Diesel ended up doing damage to Savage. Obviously, these two men kept at it. The crowd would go nuts every time Macho Man almost eliminated Diesel. Double J came out next, and he helped Diesel work on Savage. Crush came out at number 13, and this is for Savage and Crush to go at it, who had a feud going on. Crush took apart Savage. Diesel sent Savage into the boot from Crush. Then Doink came out with Dink after that. Eliminated Randy Savage there. And the fans booed at that happening. At number 15 was Bam Bam with his main squeeze, Luna. Bam Bam's third appearance on the night. He came earlier during the casket match, and he also was in the opener with Tatanka, if we remember. Doink came out, and he worked on Bam Bam as Crush eliminated Savage. Mabel comes out with Mo. The crowd saying, "Whoop!" There it is. Bob Sparkplug Holly came as well. Shawn Michaels out as well. Bam Bam went to eliminate Diesel, the rest of the roster, but it's HBK's super kick that knocks out Diesel. And there we get one of the most dominant performances in Rumble history, and it's ended that way. Valentine comes out next, then Mo, then Tatanka, then Kabuki, then it's Lex Luger, who was jumped backstage by, I believe, Fatu, or Samu, and Lex Luger got a great ovation when he came out, and DiBiase just kept saying, "I just can't believe it." So we got one of the two underdog stories in this Rumble being Lex Luger, and the other one being Bret Hart because he was injured by Owen Hart earlier in the night with his leg injury. And we didn't. There was a spot earlier where the buzzer rang, and no one came out, so we were what happened. But Bret would limp out, so maybe that was the guy that it was supposed to be, was what Vince McMahon said on commentary. But Bret came out as well, and him and Luger were in there now, and both of them were underdogs. But who would win? Who would be the man to stand tall and go to WrestleMania 10? We will find out. as Bret Hart and Luger started to attack the heels. Marty Jannetty came out. Adam Bomb then came out at number 30. Michaels had been in for over 25 minutes at this point and almost eliminated Bret Hart. Holly was now eliminated, leaving it down to 12 men. Nearly half the entrants were in the ring still at the end here. A lot of action everywhere in the ring. Also, Bastion Booger, who's said to be the man who didn't come out because he got a little sick. It is. Bastion Booger was the man that didn't get out. That's what Vince McMahon got on commentary. That's great work there. Adam Bomb went for Luger, who ducked his charge, and then he went over the top ropes. Bam Bam got revenge on Tatanka from earlier in the night. Luger and Bret, Irish Whip Fatu and Michaels into the corners. That's there at the final four. And Bret and Luger both eliminate Tenryu. The final four included Luger and Bret, the two people that had such big odds against them. And then HBK and Crush on the other side. Fatu, Michaels, Irish Whip Bret as Luger, Irish Whip Fatu into each of the corners, and Luger was winded. Bret limped and both turned around in an epic climax as they both faced each other. Luger scooped up Bret when he got to his feet as both pushed each other over the top rope to the floor, landing at the exact same time. So in the end, Bret and Luger both won at a time of 55:08. The crowd was stunned. They went back and forth on who won, but then decided both men had won. And both men would go to WrestleMania getting their shots. You'll find out at WrestleMania what would happen, and we all know what happened. Bret beat Yoko in the final event, while Lex lost to Yoko before that. So I gave this show an 8 out of 10. I would say 0.5 of that 8 out of 10 just for nostalgia. 7.5 out of 10 seems fair, but I pushed it to 8 just for nostalgia and just the controversial endings. I mean, if wrestling is fixed, why can't it have endings that are fun like this? This is one of my favorite events to go back and watch. So 8 out of 10 for this Royal Rumble. The big thumbs up. If you like this Royal Rumble reviews or want to see something different or more of the same, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and keep on tuning in. I'm Brett Mix, and that's my opinion.